roll call has been taken by check-in. We can stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Invocation, Supervisor Powers.
Creator of all things, lover of all humankind, we pray for our Winnebago County Fair. Thank you for making the earth fruitful so that it might produce what is needed for life. Bless those who work in the fields and for our dairy and livestock farmers. We ask for seasonal weather and grant that we may all share the fruits of the earth, rejoicing in all goodness in the world and in each other. Amen.
Vice Chairman Ferry.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll move to adopt tonight's agenda.
Motion made and second for adopting tonight's agenda. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay. Carried. At this time, will be allowed for persons present to express their opinion on any resolution and ordinance appears on the agenda, as well as any matter over which this body has jurisdiction. We'll start with anyone in the back that would, you'll have 2 minutes. You can come forward and talk to your mic. In the mic, state your name and address.
Hi, everybody. My name is Tina Hafman. I'm a member of the Winnebago Land Housing Coalition, especially a subcommittee of that. I was also a founder of Day by Day, and additionally I work at Levin, which is in the north part of the county, and that is a, if you don't know what Levin is, that is a crisis organization that helps people mostly with eviction prevention. They also do utilities and car repairs, but that's the big thing. It's been there 35 years. The coalition is exploring safe parking programs, which are safe, designated places for people living in their cars to park overnight. I'm commenting tonight in anticipation of a presentation you'll hear about the High Frequency, Low Severity program, which includes comments about the unsheltered population and safe parking. Our subcommittee began researching safe parking after the coalition's Face of Homelessness session in January, to which you were all invited. Because of interest from county board members in exploring the concept, we've been inspired and energized by the excellent work being done by our neighbors in both Green Bay and Fond du Lac who are operating safe parking lots. They're widely utilized and very safe solutions for a definite segment of the unhoused population. Those of us who work with the unhoused or are housing insecure on a regular basis understand there's a definite need for a space such as this. We in Winnebago County do have a huge lack of emergency beds. We don't have emergency beds. If you find yourself unhoused tonight, you will not find a bed available. At best, you'll be put on a waiting list, and at worst, if you have children, service pets, or mobility issues, it's likely there's just no options. When I spoke to the staff at 3 different shelters, they greeted the idea of safe parking with support, as it would give them another option when they have to turn people away. Because Winnebago County lacks shelter options for families with children, we couldn't meet even the most basic needs of our own residents. They're forced to seek shelter in Fond du Lac or Appleton or somewhere else, just to have a chance at a safe place to stay, because many of those shelters are full also. My ask of you tonight is that when you hear about conditions of our local unhoused and or plans being considered, that you verify the information with those who have lived experience or those who have consistent direct contact with those who are homeless. Thanks. Oh, I'm sorry. I live at 1307 Washington Avenue in Oshkosh.
Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to speak to the board this evening? Anyone else? Anyone else? Is there anyone on Zoom? There's no one on Zoom. We'll close that. Oops. Sarah? We have Sarah on Zoom. Sarah, would you like to speak to the board tonight?
Hello, yes. My camera is not,
State your name and
it's
address,
disabled.
please.
My name is Sarah Kosmicki. My address is 4 Armstrong Street in Neenah. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, sorry, my camera is disabled, so I don't think you can see me. So my name is Sarah. I am the executive director of Casa Esther Catholic Worker House in Omro. And like Tina, I am also a member of the subcommittee of the Winnebago Land Housing Coalition that is exploring safe parking programs. And I'm here tonight to also speak in anticipation of the presentation on the high frequency, low severity program that you will hear later this evening. There's a few things that I would like to point out that I'd like everybody to know. So the first thing is that our subcommittee has not yet proposed a safe parking lot in Winnebago County, and we do not have a proposal ready. We are carefully studying and researching the ways in which this program might be beneficial to our area, and we have every intention of continuing to include law enforcement in those conversations. The second thing I'd like you to know is that a safe parking program in Winnebago County would serve vehicle owners, many of whom are the working homeless. Guests in a safe parking program would be held to a signed agreement of rules and responsibilities, much like we see in Green Bay and Fond du Lac. This is quite different from the information you will see in Mr. Gossett's presentation tonight. And lastly, while Mr. Gossett's presentation is important and the high frequency, low severity program shows potential, I would encourage you, as Tina said, to reach out to members of the Winnebago Land Housing Coalition and staff at agencies that are working with the unhoused community for a more complete picture of the issues facing the community. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to speak this evening? Anyone else? Now that part is closed. Next, we have communication from the county clerk.
Good evening, everyone. First of all, on your desk tonight, we put a new set of the rules that were adopted by the county board. I will ask a favor if you, not that you have to read through them, but if you would, if you find any errors, please let us know, and then we can get them corrected and we could reprint them for you. But how we printed them, you should be able to just slide them into the directories you have. For correspondence tonight, I have one thank you card to the Winnebago County Board. Thank you for choosing me as a scholarship award winner. This award will allow me to prioritize my studies over work. Thank you again for the scholarship. Best regards, Bryce Dorn. And that's all I have.
Thank you. This time we'll have committee, commission, and board reports. Just call in on your iPad or computer and we'll call you. Anyone have a report this evening? Supervisor Bender.
I was out at the NACO convention, and it was quite interesting. The budget didn't affect the interest, non-interest municipal bonds. That stayed the same as it always was. The biggest things and concerns were the Medicaid over the course of 10 years. That's going to be cut by $1 trillion. And I don't think we're going to be affected so much, maybe 5%, but states like California and them, they're going to see big reductions in the Medicaid that they're getting. And I know, like, even for us, Human Services gets a lot of payback from Medicaid, and if we lose that, that'll be a lot less income coming in, and instead of getting the subsidies of maybe $20 million from Medicaid, that could drop down to 15, 16 million, and that's going to fall on us to make the difference up. The other thing, the SNAP program, that they're going to cut $186 billion over 10 years. So, you know, it's going to put a whole lot more demand on the food pantries. I mean, people have to eat, and if you take away their food stamps, they have to get it from somewhere. And the educators for the food-wise, that wasn't funded at all. So the best answer I could get, they'll probably all be laid off sometime in September or October. But overall, it was a good convention, and it wasn't good news, but it's better to know what you're up against than basically find out down the road. I mean, we'll have to plan for some of these cuts, because if we don't get the payback from Medicaid, we're gonna have to fund it, because people need our help.
Supervisor Powers.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I had the county clerk send out a sort of mark your calendars in advance a couple of months ago, but just a reminder that August 30th, the Hmong Association is dedicating their monument. It's a 7-foot tall monument at County Park, August 30th at 9 o'clock in the morning. It's going to be part of their opening ceremonies. It's to commemorate 50 years that the Hmong population, Hmong community has joined us here in Winnebago County, and information about the secret war during the Vietnam conflict. So I hope you all show up on August 30th, 9 o'clock in the morning. Thank you.
Is there anyone else wishing to speak this evening? Anyone else? Anyone else? Not seeing anyone, we'll move right on. County Executives Report and Appointments.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and greetings, everyone. Well, after talking and deliberating, we finally own a campus. On July 1st, Winnebago County assumed responsibility and ownership for the former UW-Fox campus, and a lot has already happened. Menasha has taken over the childcare, and things appear to be going smoothly. We're working and very close to getting the Barlow back up and running as a county function. Shows should be available to the public very soon. 2 of the UW staff who ran the Barlow, the director and the technology person, have been brought on as county employees to continue the operations. And those are 2 big pieces of the campus legacy that we've preserved. You know, when you all spoke out on April 15th, it was, you know, we want to keep the childcare, we want to maintain the public purpose and the legacy of the campus. And, you know, when I try to go half full, half empty, you know, those things I think are good things that are in motion. The next big piece is the CAC and the field house. We've had a lot of interest from the community and who used these facilities in the past to continue or expand their usage of these facilities, and we know that they can generate some revenue. And my goal in the next few months is that we have programming in both of these spaces and can point to the 4 pieces of the campus cultural legacy that Winnebago County has preserved. It obviously will also give us a snapshot on how viable financially you know, these parts of the campus are for us to make a decision down the line, and also to show the community, you know, where we are. A couple weeks ago, we did a town hall session in Menasha across the street from the campus at the United Way. I think we had 6 supervisors in attendance. We had close to 50 people from the community attend, 3 TV stations. We did a PowerPoint where we, you know, put the fiscal reality of the challenges that we face, what we hope to see, what we need from the community, and what is and what is not going to happen, what a county does and what it doesn't do, and what the timeline is. I think we challenge the community, and we know that there's a lot of support. A lot of people from that meeting have reached out, anxious to find a way to continue their programs, to stay involved, and we want to do that. Some of the groups that have reached out that are interested in managing the campus we're meeting with, in other words, managing the theater or the field house or both, and we're hoping to get a project agreement of some sort in the coming weeks. At the same time, we've been kind of juggling these things, getting things up and running, looking at the future. We've got a facility study underway. This is something that should have been done a long time ago, but we had to wait until they were out. That should be done probably sometime in August. We'll know what we need to do to maintain or repurpose the buildings or take down the buildings, depending on what the costs are, what the opportunities are, especially in the rest of the campus. But we have had individual groups reach out to us. A technology company wants to see the lab space, for instance. So I think, in the next week or two, we're going to take them through there. There's a small manufacturing co-op group that's interested in looking at some of the existing space, and we want to show them that. But we continue to hear from community partners, advocates, taxpayers, that we need a plan, and I think you guys all want that as well. I think the hope is by September we have a plan for a plan, at least maybe, given that there's some things we can get up and running, like the CAC, like the Barlow, like the field house, and then there's other things that may take a little more time. Whether we end up developing the campus ourselves into something that creates tax space and is financially sustainable, or whether we end up divesting ourselves of this project, in a year or two or something, our hope is to get long-term tax space, and generate revenue and maintain the cultural purpose of the historic and cultural identity and legacy of the campus. But I'm hopeful that we can choose the kind of development that we have if possible. We just got notice that on September 17th, the CEO of the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation is going to come see the property. I've been working with the Fox Cities Chamber of Commerce. This is 43 acres. I used to be on the WEDC board when I was in the legislature, and we would work on large-scale, projects to put state incentives into things. So they work with owner representatives, companies, to try to tie them to economic opportunities that are out there. And so, that might be something that is a bigger one. So there's a little bit of small, a little bit of medium, a little bit of large. There's a little bit of incremental, piecing things together. And there's also, discussion of our own needs. In the facilities assessment we're doing, they're also going to look at the viability and what the costs would be to modify the existing UW Fox space to be able to accommodate the NINA Human Services building, if we were to relocate it, which is on the master plan to accomplish, and move it into the UW Fox space, which would be right off of 441, which would have built-in childcare, which would be in a part of Menasha that serves the demographic population that our human services and public health serve. And so obviously that'll be up for later consideration. But just know that we continue to move forward. It is really complex, but our goal is to walk and chew gum on this one. Try to minimize our losses early, get the campus up and running, demonstrate its financial sustainability and use for our own purposes, for the community's purposes, for future investment purposes. And also, I think it's better to have things happening at the campus than nothing going on, especially if we're showing it off. So I probably will be giving UW Fox updates at every meeting from going forward. And we'll probably be doing more community outreach to keep folks informed on that as well. But don't hesitate to reach out if you have ideas, questions, feedback, other things for me. Supervisor Binder talked about some of the things in the federal budget. I was just going to comment on the state budget just before Independence Day. We had a bipartisan group of legislators work with the governor to get through some sticky issues and pass a state budget. I think we're still sorting out some of the wins and some of the challenges for the county, but we have a couple highlights. There was increased funding for the county conservation staffing grants to fund 100%, 70%, and 50% of the first 3 positions in every county conservation department. So I know we're excited about that. There were small increases for some transportation projects, increases in grant funding to county veteran services offices. And a big one was the governor vetoed a more than 100% increase to the daily rates for juvenile corrections, being sent to Lincoln Hills, which would have blown a hole in the budget. And actually, with his veto, it ended up reducing what the cost to counties would be to $500 a day as opposed to what was proposed, which would have been $2,500 a day. It's challenging to budget when you're uncertain if you're going to be referring someone to juvenile corrections or not. But if you just have one of those at $2,500 a day, you can imagine what it does to your budget. And there was a 2% increase in base contracts for income maintenance agencies as well. I should also point out, the city of Oshkosh really pushed for an increase to the municipal service payments program. That's where the state pays municipalities for services to state properties. Since the state properties are not on the tax roll, I don't think that had been increased in 40 years. There was I think a 14% increase to the final version of the budget, which will, increase the revenue to City of Oshkosh, Town of Oshkosh, and the Town of Nakaimai, all that have state property in them. And so I think that was a win for some of you in the room beyond your county role. The federal bill, the Congress passed the bill that the president has signed. I think Supervisor Binder mentioned the tax exempt nature of the municipal bonds that helps Winnebago County pay lower interest rates. But there are a number of things I think we're a little concerned about. Anything that has to do with additional enforcement or administration of Medicaid is, put onto the county. Anything to do with cutting Medicaid reimbursement also makes its way and trickles down. The good news is that it's unlikely to hit us in the 2026 budget because the way the bill worked was the cuts really start in 2027. I'll let you guys figure out why. The work requirements for SNAP and Medicaid and Badger Care will also, put some additional workload on staff that we've heard, again, are going to, be a concern. Same with the verification and redetermination requirements that increase the burden. Monthly address checks, quarterly death checks, monthly provider eligibility, death screenings. A lot of the things that I think sound good, to some people about wanting to put some standards in there to the program or make sure there's accountability and transparency. But again, it gets passed down to us, and we should always be cautious about mandates and requirements when the dollars aren't there to help fund it. I too was at the NACO conference over the weekend. In fact, I was supposed to fly home last night, and my flight was canceled, and they couldn't get me to Milwaukee, maybe because of EAA, so I had to fly into Madison today, and then get a ride to Milwaukee to get my car, and I got back about an hour ago and was wearing the same clothes for 2 days. So somebody said I clean up pretty well. At the conference, there was a lot of discussion about the federal budget impacts. Obviously, it's something every county in the state or country has in common. Everybody kind of trying to sort out what it means. There's a lot more talk about economic development, and I know a lot of you have expressed interest in either housing development or how the county can do more to grow its tax base, given that that's really how we are able to generate more revenue to fund the programs and services that we want to be able to do. A lot of it, areas of the country are dealing with data centers and the kind of zoning and infrastructure that they can partner with, with companies to make it happen. Those things are happening around the state. I'm not sure that Winnebago County is, given our layout, is totally, I know Beaver Dam's got a big data center that's being constructed right now. I know we've got a couple other ones, that are in the state, but there was a lot of discussion of those things related to economic development and, challenges for counties in providing the infrastructure necessary. Also went to a communications and crisis management forum. Everybody obviously, wants to be able to up their communications game to communicate with the public with what county government does, especially so they have that infrastructure in place when there is a county emergency. And so they're able to, make sure that they have their ducks in a row, and that was something that was certainly informative. County outreach, been trying to get around the county, hit a couple more town meetings. Last week, attended the quarterly towns unit meeting last week in Poygan with different town officials, and some of our supervisors were there. Been meeting with the Fox Cities Chamber, nonprofit leaders at Tri-County Dental, Christine Ann Center, AdvoCap, the Greater Oshkosh Healthy Neighborhoods Initiative, and the Omro Area Community Center. We have had more outreach from the Veteran Services Office and Public Health at the Omro Community Center. They, appreciate that, would like to see us do more in your districts, around the county, especially in our towns. I want to be able to do stuff to get out there when it comes to the budget and some of the other things we're doing. And if you think we can do a better job of providing county services by providing those services to your area, reach out and let me know. Finally, the county was well represented at the Neenah Menasha Parade of Lights, July 3rd, and both the Amro and Oshkosh parades on July 4th. Thanks to the Clerk of Courts, Desiree Bongers, and District Attorney Spar for walking with the county, sweating, and getting our steps in. We made it. Amro was a scorcher. So that's all for my report. I did have, let's see, where did they go? I do have some appointments, and I know there was a couple of questions. I was making 3 citizen appointments to the ARPA Strategy and Outcomes Commission. I know that we determined that the remaining Spirit Fund dollars were going towards capital projects, and I believe that is still the case. The original resolution that created the commission calls for 3 citizen members to be included. And that's why I'm appointing the 3 citizen members. They've been informed that it's our intent to spend the resources on capital needs or on county needs and county projects, given the allocation made by this board under the previous executive. I'm making the appointment of Sean Fitzgerald from the Oshkosh Chamber of Commerce, their Economic Development Director, as a citizen member. Brandon Hennis, the City of Amro Administrator, as a citizen member. And Don Merkis, former mayor of the City of Menasha, as a citizen mayor, or member. And then my other appointment is to
Can we
the
make a
Board of
motion?
Adjustment.
Let me make a motion, let's see if we can get a
Oh,
motion
sorry,
on them.
got ahead of myself.
Is there a motion to approve is there somebody make the motion? Motion by Supervisor Bender, is there a second? Seconded by Supervisor Albrecht. Any discussion? Any discussion? Supervisor Dowling.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to express my disappointment that our other citizen members stepped away from the committee after the money was given to what can only be seen as friends and favors were paid back. Clearly, that had nothing to do with our current county executive, but it's very disheartening.
Any other discussion? Not hearing. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay. Carried. And 1 abstention.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My second appointment is to the Board of Adjustment. I would like to reappoint Greg Cargis as a citizen member to a 3-year term expiring on June 30th, 2028.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Any discussion? Not hearing any. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay. Carried.
Thank you.
Thank you. Supervisor Lutz had asked to be excused, and Supervisor Stafford was at a meeting all day. He wasn't sure if he could make it or not, or he might be on Zoom. I'm not sure. So them are the only 2 that I had heard from. Heard from a couple other ones, but they're here, which I'm happy to see. So I also have a appointment, and I would like to have her come up to the podium, please. Brenda Pushinsky to represent District 23. I think all of you should have gotten your packet because it was something new that started by the task force. They wanted to see everything about her and this and that. That she wanted to go ahead like she was applying for a job, and that's what was sent out to all the board members. But if there's any questions, or if you have any questions, Brenda, or if any of the board have any questions, now is the time to do it.
Okay. Do you mind if I say a few words?
You go right ahead.
Okay, thank you, Chairman. And good evening, members of the Winnebago County Board members, supervisors, I guess. Sorry, I'm a little nervous. I don't do this every night. My name is Brenda Pluchinski. A few things about me. I was born and raised in northern Wisconsin on a dairy farm. I love the state of Wisconsin very much. After graduating from high school, I attended the Milwaukee School of Engineering, where I received a degree in architectural engineering. When my husband and I decided to get married, we chose Oshkosh and, more importantly, Winnebago County as our home. We have lived here for over 25 years, raising our 3 children. We love the diversity of the county. The land is beautiful. We love living in the Oshkosh area, being close to the EAA, and all the fine dining options we have. There's so many great restaurants. We love the open waters, and we frequently go out boating on them. I especially love the farmland because it reminds me of growing up in northern Wisconsin. And we also love the land that we purchase out in the town of Poygan where we plan to retire someday. Currently, I work for the town of Omro, and I think that gives me a good position in seeing what goes around in the towns, not just in the city of Oshkosh. And with your approval tonight, I look forward to working with all of you as a Winnebago County Board Supervisor. Thank you.
We will need a motion for her approval. Motion is made and second to approve Brenda Polinsky for District 23. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay. Carried. If you want to come right over here, I'll swear you in.
Thank you.
Raise your right hand. I, Brenda M. Pushinsky,
I, Brenda M. Kuczynski,
have been appointed to the office of County Board Supervisor, District 23.
have been appointed to
County
County
Board
Board
Supervisor,
Supervisor,
District 23.
District 23.
Swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
Swear that I will support
Constitution,
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin,
and the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin,
and will faithfully
and will faithfully
and impartially
and impartially
discharge the duties of said office to the best of my ability.
discharge the duties of the office of the,
Best of my ability.
to the best of my abilities.
District 23. Brenda, if you want to sign this, please. Brenda, if you want to sign these and give them to the clerk. You can go to your seat if you want to, and then come up and give them to Julie afterwards.
Okay.
And this is unusual at times, but it's been so long since Parkview has had anyone, and I asked her when she applied for this if she would be interested in taking the Parkview Health Center Committee member, and she said that she would. So I'm going to ask for a motion to approve her also to be on the committee for the Parkview Health. Second. Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Not hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. Carried. And one last thing I did not put on here, and I didn't put it on for a reason. It's because I don't know if you want to say surprise, because I don't think this guy can get surprised, but Reese Phillips is leaving us. And I don't think that how many people from the county board realize that he's touched them in one way or another, whether it be through a committee, a task force, sitting up here with, started out in the county executive's office, matter of fact, that's where he started. Then he was working with Mary Ann, then he was in the clerk's office. I know he's helped me a lot of different questions, and he's going to be leaving us the end of the month. He's going to go back to school. He's going to be just like his daddy, a big lawyer, and so we're really going to miss him around here. And I think that we could at least give him a nice round of applause. And Reese, if you'd like to say something, I'm sure they'd like to hear from you one more time.
Sweet. Thanks. That was also a surprise to me. Even at the meeting last week on Monday or Tuesday, where it's, me, Marianne, Julie, and Tom all discussing the agenda, this did not come up. So this was a surprise for me too. It's a very welcome one. I really appreciate all the applause. And I hope that, after leaving, that Marianne will be probably pursuing something along my job in the next budget request. So hopefully I did a good enough job where she can get some more help, because I know Tori will be kind of on an island with a lot of the resolutions and ordinances as they come in after I leave. So hopefully she can get some help there, and maybe they'll be just as good or probably better than me. And I hope that goes okay. I also wanted to say thank you to you guys. It's been a real pleasure working with you guys for the past year. I started at the end of July of last year, so my first couple of days were at the fair, which was outside of what I did for the rest of my time here, but it was still a good experience nonetheless of seeing the DA in a chicken costume, or learning about what things were or weren't recyclable with the new machines at the dump. So it was very informative to me, even if it wasn't exactly what I thought I'd be learning. And as time went on, I started working with the task force on rules, and that was a lot of fun. Sometimes the meetings went long, or things were confusing, but in the end I thought it was a really good experience, and that was probably the committee I spent the most time with. And I want to send a special thank you to Supervisor Hanson, who's back in the corner there. He was the chair of that committee, and so we would talk a lot after those committee meetings, and I wanted to make sure, if I missed something, I was, hey, am I remembering this right? If the video wasn't up yet and I was trying to write something, or he would call me saying, hey, did I remember this right? And then usually, if the two of us were thinking about the same thing, we usually got on the same page, and then it was good for the next one. And I would like to say that I think I worked with every one of you on one thing or another. It could have been super small, like Supervisor Hancock Cook writing a resolution that never actually came to the board, but it was still something we hashed out. And it's the small things like that I think were a great learning experience. And I want to say thank you to all of you guys. And while I hope I was helpful to you, I know that you were extremely helpful to me in learning about different things with county government and expanding on my knowledge base there. And it was a real pleasure to be able to work with you guys, even though I didn't really have a connection to Winnebago County before my year-long job started. I would like to think that it is now probably my favorite county in the state. And I just want to say thank you guys so much for helping me with all of those different things I wanted to learn and experiences I got to have. Thanks to you guys. So thank you.
Okay, Supervisor Hanson, would you like to introduce our next presentation for this evening?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I first want to say I am deeply grateful for the phone calls, the emails, and the one-on-one conversations about this particular topic. I do wish to clarify something as far as my involvement is concerned. I began asking questions in June of 2024 right after the Grants Pass versus Johnson decision by the Supreme Court, and I've been watching what's happening all over the country, from executive orders from Gavin Newsom and London Breed supporting that SCOTUS decision. And just by the way, important to also read Justice Sotomayor's dissent as well. Please take the time to do that. So I began asking questions to law enforcement and anybody that I could. The numbers are the numbers. And again, deeply grateful that people reached out and were seeing this, but all I'm doing is asking questions, and that's what led me to the district attorney's office for this presentation. And probably good for him, that's where my involvement ceases, is just asking the questions. And with that, thank you, Mr. Gossett.
I see you. I'm coming. I would rather not, but
I'll run the show.
This is awkward. It's behind me. can't go on there. Okay. Well, now I've got a dilemma. The screen is behind me, so I can't read it. I can get through this, but you're going to have to bear with me. I'm going to have to go back and forth with my glasses. No, that's okay. I can work this out. But I can't see you when I put my glasses on, and I can't see this very well when I don't have them on, so I'm going to be squinting, okay? I've been told I've got 15 minutes. Don't worry, I only need 25. And we're here to talk about our high-frequency, low-severity group. We're also going to talk a little bit about the unhoused population, and somehow or another this has turned into a controversial political topic, which I don't fully understand. But the population that we're talking about here is a population that falls in between our low-level offenders, which we often divert into programming specific to their underlying issues, and the population that's engaging in such severe criminal activity that they're going to prison. Okay? So some examples of this population. We just pulled 3 people. Female offender has been placed in housing 3 different times, kicked out of each of the housing units that we've placed her in, 3 different facilities. 6 prior criminal convictions, 12 referrals, 31 police contacts over 5 years. That's 6 per year. Next is a male offender, 13 prior convictions, 9 criminal referrals, 36 police contacts over 17 years. That's 2 or more per year. Another one is a male offender, persistent problem in Oshkosh parks and public spaces, 44 prior criminal convictions, 25 criminal referrals, 92 police contacts over the course of 21 years. This isn't just people who are homeless, these are criminals. These are people engaged in a lot of criminal activity. To put how much criminal activity we're talking about in perspective, in Wisconsin, you are identified as a habitual offender if you have 1 felony conviction or 3 separate misdemeanor convictions over a 5-year period. You might want to write those numbers down. 1 felony or 3 misdemeanors over 5 years. That makes you a habitual criminal. That is 17% of our criminal population in Winnebago County. Okay? If you're looking at versions of this that were originally provided, that's not the right presentation. It was a later presentation. So if you're following along, just be aware of that. The high-frequency group that we're talking about, the ones that we created this program for, these people have either 9 criminal referrals over the course of 3 years, 12 over the course of 4 years, or 15 over the course of 5 years. To put that in perspective, most of us will have 0 in a lifetime. Out of the 170,000 plus people in Winnebago County, this represents 112 individuals. These 112 individuals make up 0.7% of our criminal population, 0.06% of our total population, and commit 11% of the crime committed in our county. So, no, this is not an attack on homeless people. We're specifically looking at the most pervasive criminals in Winnebago County, all 112 of them. Concentration of criminal activity. Why this is controversial, I'm not sure, but this number 158 is the most controversial thing you're going to hear from me tonight. So 158 unhoused individuals in the county based on our last point in time count, okay? 30 of the 158 individuals are high-frequency offenders. That's about 19% of the official count of homeless people in our county. By comparison, 82 of the 171,572 housed individuals are high-frequency offenders. That's 0.05%. There's a concentration in the unhoused population. That doesn't mean that homeless people are criminals. That means that there's... Yeah, sorry, I explained that. You guys have an older presentation. We met with the Housing Coalition. We got clearer answers on how the unhoused population is counted. We were miscounting all of Winnebago land and all of the Fox cities, which includes counties surrounding Winnebago. So we overcounted severely. So I apologize. We had a new presentation that hopefully got sent out, but it would have been sent out pretty late. This number is controversial because it implies that we have enough housing, emergency beds that is, for people who are homeless, okay? That's why it's controversial. I don't care if you accept the number or not, it's the official number. Other people have to take it up, and we have about 3 pages worth of data just to make sure that everybody knows how it is that we got that number and where it comes from. This is a point-in-time count. This is where the official numbers come from, or the real numbers come from for homeless data. Winnebago County's point-in-time count, we showed the math to make sure there's no confusion about where we're getting it. There is some estimating that happens here, okay? Because Winnebago Land and Fox Cities encompass more than just Winnebago County, so we took the percentage of those totals that would be attributed to Winnebago County. Could it be off by a few people? Yes. Is it possible that there's tens of thousands of people who are homeless and hiding in the bushes? No. So back to our high frequency, the 112 people that we're talking about in our high frequency, low severity offender list, 27% of the high frequency offenders are currently unhoused, okay? Now we have to properly identify issues if we want to solve the issues. If we have a perception that there's two groups, housed individuals and unhoused individuals, we're not going to solve the problem. We have to accept the reality that there's four groups that we need to look at here. There are housed individuals who are non-criminal and criminal. There are unhoused individuals who are non-criminal and criminal. It is not a crime to be unhoused. It is a crime to engage in criminal activity, whether you have housing or not. Still criminal, okay? So we have two distinct problems that we have to solve here. With the unhoused population, we have two problems we have to solve. There's the unhoused who are pro-social individuals. These are people who are down on their luck. They're not engaging in crime, and they are demonstrating an effort to improve their life situation. The day-by-day warming shelter is there for these people. All of our housing, COTS, Christine Ann Center, you name it, whoever's out there to help with housing, they want to help these people. You want to help these people. We want to help these people. They deserve our help. But there's also an unhoused antisocial population. This antisocial behavior and lifestyle really are what drive their behavior. Unhoused is a consequence of the behavior. They're not engaging in the behavior because they're unhoused. When people were speaking before the presentation, they talked about people who know the information and understand, like there's some secret about what's going on. Dr. Ritchie was not introduced yet, but Dr. Ritchie, PhD in criminal justice, part of his doctoral thesis is on this unhoused antisocial population. We're working with the expert in this area. Okay, we're not just making numbers up. So when we get to helping the pro-social population, we do have to provide services. We do have to provide housing, but we also owe it to people like Molly, people at the Day-by-Day Shelter, people at the Christine Ann Center, people at COTS. We owe it to them to make it easier for them to do their job. If we put antisocial, criminal-thinking people trying to engage in criminal activity in with all of these people who are trying to improve their own situation, get back in a job, we are making it very hard for the unhoused people who want to get back on their feet, and for the people who are working their butts off to try to get them back on their feet. We need to stop doing that. We need to stop accepting, or believing, I should say, that just because you're unhoused means that you are exempt from any prosecution or any intervention by law enforcement for your criminal activity. So we looked at the types of crimes that are being involved, or that are being engaged in by the housed and unhoused population. This goes to my point. The types of crime that they're engaging in are pretty much the same. The ones that you see at the end that are different involve vehicles, because our unhoused population typically does not have vehicles. But all of the other types of crimes are very similar. They track. They're the same. We should not be treating unhoused people differently because they're engaging in criminal activity and they happen to be unhoused. That's not an excuse. When we excuse the criminal activity because of their living situation, we become enablers. We need to not become enablers. Looking further at the types of crime that are being involved in, when we look at the unhoused population is 0.09% of the county population. The unhoused criminal population is about 5% of the criminal population. And we started looking at the crime types being engaged in. 10.4% is violent crime. 14.7% drug-related offenses. 16.7% is property. Before we go any farther, when we're talking about property offenses, that's 3.4% is retail theft. Retail theft, when we break that down, 41% of that is alcohol. Only 22% is food. The balance is tools and things of that sort. 21.4% bail jumping, 22.6% disorderly conduct, and 49% of the crimes engaged in have a victim. So these aren't victimless crimes. These aren't grab a loaf of bread. They're crimes just like the housed population. They're crimes of opportunity and crimes to get substances. When we're looking at recidivism, the unhoused individuals with criminal referrals were more likely to recidivate within a 5-year window, 49% versus 31% to their housed counterparts, and also twice as likely to have a higher number of reoffenses. They also reoffend faster in about 2 months, but the unhoused population that is involved in this high-frequency group, it's only 3 months. They're still very similar, okay, very close. 5-year recidivism, most of their occurrences are within 30 days. This population isn't idle for very long before they're engaging in criminal activity again. So they're a population that if we can get a hold of them and get them off our streets, we can prevent a lot of crime. The drain on resources, the Oshkosh Police Department received 271 calls for service from the day-by-day shelter in 2024 and 573 records of calls for service in May of 2023. I am not criticizing the day-by-day shelter. The day-by-day shelter is doing what they're doing despite these numbers. We owe it to them to put our best effort forward to make it easier for them to do their job and help the people who are trying to improve their life situation. OPD has added resources to specifically address the problems. Misinformation has consequences. There's a financial impact. These photos are pictures at the Orrin King building. You remember that the Orrin King building was part of a press conference about how we are picking on the homeless population and they're doing no harm. That is the Water City Church sign, by the way, covered in human feces, if you're wondering what's smeared all over it. The cost for cleanup for the county was $11,647.68 so far. More photos. Debris, typical sleeping area at the Orrin King building. Fecal matter wiped on the side of the building. We send investigators out there to clear the grates. The grates, by the way, are exhaust. It's not heat. This isn't a heating source. This is exhaust. And we're doing very little to keep this from happening, by the way. That is the grate opened up. That's what it looks like, including the 87 syringes that were recovered from the grate. This is not a population that is down on their luck, okay? Why is it controversial? Well, you probably remember the Esther press release. Why did we present pictures of the Orrin King building? Well, first of all, it's right outside. We can take the pictures, but this press release, as you can see, is at the Orrin King building. One of the comments in there is the Orrin King building has grates that have provided a safe, dry, warm area for the unhoused to sleep until recently. It's not warm, it's exhaust. And it cost you almost $12,000. Well, it cost us as taxpayers almost $12,000 to clean up the mess so far. Safety and security concerns. Your employees, these are text messages about the population, including their drinking already this morning, 7:44 a.m. You're not down on your luck if you're drinking at 7:44 a.m. and thinking you're going to find a job that day, okay? Getting yelled at by people. This is at the Orrin King building. We have 3 investigators right across the parking lot. There's 5 sheriff's deputies at the courthouse. 1 block away is the Oshkosh Police Department. So yes, people spoke about me talking about the parking lot option. At this point in time, until we understand the difference in this population and we can wrap our heads around it and get a handle on it, I do think a parking lot option is a very bad idea. Those pictures from the Orrin King building, we also have a camera on them 24/7 from the Sheriff's Department. I don't know what a couple of volunteers in a parking lot are going to do. It's going to be a free-for-all. Could it be done? Possibly. But we're not there. We have to get this problem under control. Ultimately, this comes down to a social compact that we have. As a society, we all owe it to everybody else in our community. When they're down on their luck, we have to help them. We owe it to them. If they're dealing with substance abuse, we have to help them overcome their substance abuse. Financial, whatever it is. But the second part of that social compact is they have to accept the help and work to improve their situation. They owe that to us. Okay? It has to go both ways, and that's what this high-frequency program is based on. Compelled treatment, by the way, is highly effective. We have a drug court here. If people are left to their own devices, they delay treatment about 8 years. For alcohol, it's about 10 years. When we force treatment, we can see about a 50% success rate. There's no reason to make these people suffer with their addiction just simply because they're unhoused. Let's get them some services. Let's get them some help. We can't do that by enabling them. We have to engage them. The high frequency, low severity group, this program involves the district attorney's office doing risk needs assessments, understanding the individual's issues, connecting them with services. The sheriff's office is doing case management for the individuals. They're providing treatment even when people are in the jail. They're getting treatment in the STAR program. The University of Wisconsin-Oshkosh is helping us with program development and evaluation. And United Way is providing all of their services through their networks to help these individuals get on their feet. We couldn't show you all the services because it takes about 6 pages. Everything that these people need or want, we will give to them. They just have to engage in the services. Last couple of points. Here's our different communities and the housed population and how many crimes are engaged in by this high frequency group. Again, this is 112 people. And the unhoused population. Once again, you can see it's the same. So we wanted you to know about the high frequency program, the initiative that we have to try to address these right now 112 people. Yes, it does include some of the unhoused people, but we need you to understand the difference between unhoused people who are criminals and engage in criminal activity and unhoused people who are down on their luck and need our help. That's all that I have. I have Dr. Ritchie here. I have Caitlin here, and I'll take questions, I think. That's up to
Supervisor
Chairman
Laux.
Egan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You specifically said that the unhoused population that you are discussing here does not have vehicles.
I did not say that.
You did.
I did not. I said they tend to not have vehicles.
How many?
That's a great question for those folks.
Yeah. You'd have to ask them. I don't, the reason I made that comment was,
The reason this matters is we are not addressing an unhoused population that doesn't have cars. We are talking strictly in some side conversations that is the reason this was brought up about safer to park, which is only dealing with unhoused populations that have cars. They can't need the bus route or anything like that. They can only have cars.
yeah, so I don't know anything about that. I'm talking about the high frequency offenders.
Yes, and I'm wondering why we are getting this presentation at all.
In part because we were going to give you guys information about our high-frequency offender program, high-frequency, low-severity offender program. What we've run into is PR campaigns and people trying to explain that the high-frequency offenders who are unhoused should be excused, essentially, because they're unhoused from any sort of interaction based on the criminal activity. Did you not see the presentation by Esther at the Orrin King building? Okay.
No, why would
Then, well, it was on the news. It was at the county. It was about the county not doing anything to help the homeless people. So I thought as a county board supervisor, maybe you would have, but that's why it's in there.
Supervisor Holt.
Thank you. Can you please share with, thank you, Kate. Can you please share with our county clerk's office the referral patterns by agency? I don't think I've seen that before, and if I did see it, it wasn't as clear as it is on this presentation.
Yeah, they have the whole presentation.
Okay, you can hold your feedback for me, because I'm just going to blow through my questions. I only get 2 minutes. You got 20.
Yeah. Yeah.
To clarify, are you speaking as a county resident, or are you speaking as an expert on this subject?
Well, I created the program, so I guess I'm speaking as an expert
Okay.
on the program.
Thank
I'm
you.
also a county resident, so I'm speaking as a county resident.
You shared your opinion, so I was hoping you'd have a better understanding of the Safe to Park program, since that was a large portion of the presentation in the committee. So I would have hoped that you had followed up and asked more questions.
Well,
about
I have
that.
27 slides. That was one slide. I'm not sure what you consider a large portion, but I'm going to disagree with
Okay.
you.
Again, I don't need your feedback right now. I have a list of questions. One of my observations while reading the packet was, why don't we have portable toilets, or better yet, public restrooms similar to those available in Europe that require credit cards or other chipped cards for entrance? My next point of order here is, if this is somehow related to Safer to Park, no data was referenced for the existing Safe to Park programs in Fond du Lac and Green Bay. More importantly, the people living in their cars are often adults with jobs and often kids who, due to lack of available beds and shelters or affordable housing, which is defined as 30% of the average median income, they're unable to find a place to live.
I'm sorry, are you asking me questions or just telling me things?
I'm giving you some input.
Okay.
I found this presentation highly disrespectful of the people who are in difficult situations. Number one, putting the unhoused term in quotation marks. What are you going to call them?
I put it in quotation marks because I don't know. I hear different terms.
Yep.
And so I'm not sure what people want to use. But
Yep.
the last one that I heard was unhoused. So I said unhoused.
You could just say unhoused without putting it in quotation marks. That's what we call it. So
Not everybody, but okay.
In addition, I'm really concerned that you don't have an understanding of those who are unhoused because they have drug dependency issues, and those that have drug dependency issues because they have mental health issues, and there's no data in here about that. And then lastly, we have people with drug addiction who probably belong in this program that you're referring to, but we also have people that do not have drug addiction who do not belong in this group. You talk about the juvenile offenders with misdemeanors. How many of the misdemeanors back in the beginning?
I have not spoken about any juvenile offenders at all.
17 maybe.
17 is an
They're
adult in the
juvenile.
state of Wisconsin.
Okay. They're-
Yeah, it's over 17, but it's
Okay.
also, 17 is an adult in Wisconsin.
Still, you talk about them. A misdemeanor could be something like public urination, I'm guessing.
No.
Thank you.
Okay. But we have a hard time putting the clock on, so that's why, because then we lose all the names up there, so that's why we.
I got it on my phone.
Okay. Were you done? I didn't want, okay. Supervisor Burrow.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Let me state first, for the other members of the supervisors, we're talking 112 people here. We represent the citizens of the entire county, those that work in this area. We heard that a significant number of these folks these are not victimless crimes, and let's not forget the victims here. And, also from the perspective, we want Winnebago County to be a great place to live and also visit. I never forget going to Portland, Oregon with my family, watching 3 guys urinating out in front of a courthouse. It's not a fun thing. So coming back to, first of all, thank you for the presentation. And what I wanted to ask is probably a different question. So we have 112. What's restocking? Where does it come from? I mean, how do we stop it at its source, ideally? So we go from 112 down to 60 and not just have another 100 come in.
Yeah, so we just started this in January of this year, and that's part of why we have UW Oshkosh. So what we're trying to do is, by connecting with United Way and everybody else, is we're trying to get these people who have they're not just engaging in criminal activity because they're mean people. They have needs. They have underlying issues. So what we're trying to do is throw every resource we can. We're putting all of our resources, all of our attention that we can focus on these people into them to try to help them turn their lives around. These aren't useless, hopeless people. These people can turn themselves around. We're holding their feet to the fire, but we are giving them all of the tools they can possibly need to do this. We want them to succeed. We want them off that list. Don't forget, that's 112 people. That's 11% of the crime in our county. 11%. You find me anything that can reduce crime by 11%, and that's 112 people. Will we be able to fix all of them? No, but we're going to try this for a few years and see how many we can, and perhaps we can figure out a model that will help.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Supervisor Hancock Cook.
Thank you very much, and thank you for your presentation. I'm on the Judicial and Public Safety Committee, and I missed your presentation, but I did get to hear the recording. So this is my second time through. I'm interested in, I think the idea of this program, high frequency, low severity offenders is interesting, and I think it's probably got a great deal of value. The conflation of this with the unhoused population confused me in the presentation. I am wondering about if we look at the other thing that I'm confused about is there's numbers of data that come in, and then the numbers start, percentages start to get very suspicious. And I think that it'd be good for us to have all of that information or resources to that. I'm concerned about the question of forced recovery or forced treatment. I suspect that it's not always that successful. I mean, we say that there's a 60% success rate after a year.
Yeah.
Okay, so that takes care of what, 4 of the crimes that they commit, and then when they start using again after a year, then they're done. So I understand the whole wraparound services concept. But I know we've only got like 6 months into this program, right? How many months do you think till we have a good sense of whether it's actually having an impact? So what's your guess?
6 years.
6 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I guess let me answer that 2 ways. One is we're going to see how many people get through the programming. But I like to see 5 years for people to be done with programming and make sure that it sticks. Some people will use 3 years of recidivism. I really prefer 5 years. And I certainly would not want to claim success at the end of 1 year. Because if it doesn't stick, it doesn't work. But one thing that I think might be lost here is if you're a habitual criminal in Wisconsin, you can go to prison. Okay? The alternative is not stay on the street. The alternative is incarceration. We're not being mean to these people. We are giving them all of these tools instead of throwing them away. And interestingly, the Housing Coalition people are offended by this. The alternative is to put them in prison.
I hope that you'll reconsider your tone relative to the people working on unhoused populations and our offenses or lack of offense. I would like to point out that in Wisconsin we have increased the prison population since 1970 by 640%. So we have a very, very high prison population. So I love the idea of keeping people out of jail. But I also want to highlight that the conflation of the unhoused population, the horrible problems they create, X, Y, Z, we chose not to provide facilities. It cost us $11,000 to clean up. A porta potty costs about $150 a month with maintenance every week. Why did we choose that? I mean, I know you don't know the answer, but there's ways that we could make that sort of situation not reoccur, which was probably what we would do at the park, the Safe to Park place. I know that not only Wisconsin, Green Bay and Fond du Lac, but numerous places around the country have seen great success with the free to park and moving those people to permanent housing. So I think that I'm concerned that in the interest, there's a good piece in this, which is the program that you're working on. But the rest of the data seems to me to be fairly subjective and prejudicial relative to the other programs that might happen in Winnebago County. All these programs could happen at the same time. I don't know. It's a zero-sum game. Thank you.
Supervisor Bender.
For your comment much, you could put them in prison. You could also sentence them to Winnebago mental health and give them the help that they need. But you don't want to spend $2,000 a day doing it. You want to put them in prison. They need help. They're people just like you and I. They're somebody's brother or sister. We stuck them over there by the Orange King building when they had to move out of the town motel. Where did you expect them to go to the bathroom at 2 o'clock in the morning? You didn't even give them a can. I mean, I don't condone what they did. Maybe if 4 or 5 people did that, we should own up to our mistakes. We could have put a dumpster over there. We could have put a box over there for the needles. We have them little orange hazardous boxes. We could have put a porta potty there. But no, it's easy to blame somebody else. We spend an awful lot of money on your programs, the sheriff's programs. What success am I seeing? We're spending millions of dollars, and you can sit up here and tell us, well, we got all these individuals, and there's nothing we can do for them. So then why are we wasting our money?
try to
I
answer.
just want to say, and I'm not just saying it to you, Mr. Bender, to everyone, he's here to give a presentation. Don't go ahead and kill him.
Right, well, it's just odd how the presentation came when we're looking for a safe park center.
realize that.
Then you want to come with your presentation.
Right.
You had a whole year to bring this presentation forward, but when somebody comes up with another idea that you don't like, well, now you come up with this presentation.
Again, I'd like to point out the presentation on the parking lot is one page. It's not a presentation on the parking lot. Nobody gets sentenced to Winnebago Mental Health. All of these people are interacting with DHS. If they should be in Winnebago Mental Health, they'll be transported. I don't have any control over that. You'll have to talk to Dr. Topol about who goes to Winnebago Mental Health. That's not
I've
my
asked.
decision.
They said they can't afford $2,000 a day.
Yeah.
That's the answer.
Yeah, but for me, I don't pay
So
it.
we
I
throw 'em
don't.
away like
I'm not part of the
garbage.
decision making, so I can't do anything about that. And again, this is about the 112 people who are engaging in criminal activity at a high frequency rate. This presentation and this program got somehow involved with the housing coalition and different special interest groups that we were somehow going after the unhoused population. We're not. We're going after the We're going after the people who are engaged in the criminal activity. Yes, that does overlap with some people who are unhoused. 30 of them. 30 unhoused people. And as far as the jail, our jail population is lower today than when I became district attorney in 2007. I am answering the question. The question was about the jail population. I am telling you, the jail population today is lower than when I took over the DA's office in 2007. What are you getting for the programming that we've put in place? You have not had to expand the jail 3 different times it's come up because we've been able to create programming to reduce the jail population, so you're saving about $16 million in build costs and about $1.1 million a year. That's what you're saving.
Bracelets help to do that?
I'm sorry?
The ankle bracelets, the Ubers, you don't think that
Yeah.
can do that? That's why we closed the Uber Center, because you didn't have any more people to put in there. They were all on
I don't know
the
why
street.
that was closed.
I don't want to debate with you, but that's the reason why the population is lower.
Supervisor Hilberson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would like to ask why we don't have some timestamps for these pictures. It's kind of, I understand these events happened and this is what it looked like, but I've also walked those streets at night and seen these areas, and this is not what it looks like every day. Like, I've checked week after week at these grates, and
When was this?
I'd like to know timestamps and what it looks like now compared to just the events. And also,
She's checking.
yeah, and also for the chart on the housed versus unhoused offenders and which crimes, the bail jumping, it looks like it's a lot bigger for the unhoused. How much of that is because they don't have an address to receive their summons for court?
Oh, we almost never issue bail jumping charges for missed court. Bail jumping charges are going to be primarily for substance use.
Okay.
Using drugs, using alcohol when they have a condition not to, or stopping complying with treatment, engaging those substances. Bail jumping can be abused very readily for missed court appearances. We try very hard not to issue those types of charges. We've also worked on helping people get to court and finding ways to notify them. We do text messages, things like that, kind of like you get from the dentist's office. So we're not just issuing bail jumping charges because somebody missed a court date. We're trying to figure out how to get them to court, really how to get them into treatment. So it's usually going to be treatment associated, or new crimes, I guess, is the other big one, if they're engaging in new criminal activity.
Okay.
If you find them pictures, if you want to show her, that would be great. Supervisor Hanson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for the presentation. Just briefly, there's an old Native American proverb that loosely translated says, "No bird can fly without both the left and the right wing." And it's the heart and the body in the middle that balance it out. I really wish, and this was never meant to be putting people onto sides or camps. It is to introduce information. It is a presentation and find solutions. I don't know how we can find a solution without understanding what problems are. Thank you.
Supervisor Buck.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for your presentation. Would it be my understanding that you work out of the Orrin King building?
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about the safety concerns to our county employees? It's in the presentation, but you kind of breezed over that as somebody that's heard from constituents and people that work in the Orrin King building about some of the safety concerns and some of the uneasy feelings about our county employees coming to and from work as somebody that works out of that building.
Yeah, thank you. And that's a hard one. So the first floor of the Orrin King building is filled with DHS employees. It's people who are trying to help individuals with their drug addiction, their mental health issues, alcoholism, whatever it is. And that's where we do a lot of our diversion programming. Sometimes they end up staying late. Sometimes the SUD counselors are staying late. We have prosecutors who come in, to deal with serious offenses, and it's intimidating. Again, it depends on who the people are. If this was, as has been suggested, if we were dealing with people who were homeless and just there, that'd be one thing. But we know some of these people. We see them. We're aware of who they are. And it's really hard. If you know somebody that is a habitual criminal and a high-frequency offender, you don't want to go out there. These are women coming and going to work by themselves, and some of those messages that are there, they're literally sitting in their car waiting for other people to show up because they're afraid to walk into the office. That's not a healthy environment for anybody. And so I can't really speak to it too much. I came into the Orrin King building one day. Our buildings are old. Sometimes the doors don't work, the electric locks don't work. Somebody had been cleaning themselves up in the sink in the first floor bathroom. They ran out the back door as I came in. One of the women in the ground level in the basement found somebody hiding in a bathroom after the building had been closed and locked. So nothing really bad has happened. But at the same time, should we be waiting till something really bad happens? I don't think so. But there are things like the safe needle drop and things like that during normal business hours where needles can be dropped. And there are bathrooms that the Salvation Army is right across the street. There's a constant flow of traffic for homeless populations in our building. I'm not worried about the homeless population. None of us are. It's the criminal population. We just need everybody to understand that there are some criminals who are homeless. They're the ones that are of concern. And I think the cleanup at the Orrin King building, 87 needles. I think all of us have lost a job at some point in time, been downsized. And probably what you did was you went out and beat up a few people on the street and shot up some meth or something. That's not normal. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about a different population. And so a lot of what I want everybody to understand is just recognize those two different populations. Let's do what we can. Let's do everything we can. Let's create a safe parking lot. If we can figure out how to create a safe parking lot, let's do it. No problem with that. But we can't do it until we distinguish between these populations.
Thank you.
Vice Chairman Fari.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for your presentation. I guess I'll apply some of my country boy logic here a little bit. First of all, Orrin King. If I had an issue with trespassing and vandalism, as you've demonstrated, I'd fence it. Simple as that. Put up a 6-foot fence and you don't have that problem. However, the problem is not going away, and I think we all recognize that. So I suggest, and it's not just a county problem. Obviously, they're located within the municipality of the city of Oshkosh. We need to sit down with the city and other communities, if we can, and try to find an answer. Quit saying it's our county problem. It's also a municipal problem. And we need to get together because if we fence it, they're going to go somewhere else in Oshkosh. We need to find a location that it's okay for them to go to and then go from there. That's my 2 cents.
Thank you. Solving the problem should be everybody's goal. We just have to identify the right problem and then solve it. But we have to solve all of the problems.
Supervisor Hancock Cook.
I do want to highlight just a statement you just made about someone losing their job and they go out and shoot up because they've lost their job, which is not normal. We are talking about an addicted population, probably traumatized from something, but an addicted population, and that whether they're addicted to alcohol, which is, we know, more societally acceptable, or other drugs or whatever, I think that we need to consider, and I know that in other statements you've made a very sympathetic position about people who are addicted. Forcing treatment is really, really, really not the best way to get people to get sober, but if you want to use the, if you want to cite this data from Australia in 2003, that's fine. I think that we just need to be respectful of the fact that these are people who have multiple issues. Trauma is probably related, addiction is related, and the fact that that's where the bail jumping's coming in is highlighting that even more. And I really hope that this program works as well as we'd like it to in the next 5 years. Thank you.
Thank you. I hope so too. And on the bail jumps, one of the things that I would like to tell you is if people end up incarcerated because they keep using, they end up in the STAR treatment program. So they go from treatment out on the street that isn't working because they can't fight the addiction. And don't forget, some of these people, their support network is their dealers, their fellow addicts. So if they end up in the jail, they get put back, or they get put into treatment. And they get handed off and they get back in the community, they go on a diversion program, they get treatment. It is treatment, 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 treatment. That's what Winnebago County does really, really well. We do a lot of intervention. We try to grab people and help them get out of the situation that they're in.
And people are free not to choose treatment as well.
They are until they commit crimes against others.
Okay, I've got 2 people left on the board, and that's all I'm going to take. You all seem to, that's a very good subject, and hopefully, Kristen, you would take calls if anybody calls you or whatever?
Yes,
So,
absolutely.
Okay, so we've got, I believe Supervisor Laux, she's up.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So will you be coming back to the board to ask for money, or what? Are you just telling us about this program and...
Yeah.
And then there's...
I was asked to do this.
This isn't us being like we're doing, like we were asked to come here, to be perfectly clear. And the compelled treatment, therapeutic jurisprudence has got a decade of evidence supporting that compelled treatment speeds up recovery time, ensures that these folks have a support group after they're in treatment so that we're not constantly seeing them back in. So you can have your big talking points, but I want to be real clear. We didn't just come up with this out of the air. This is all a lot of research, a lot of hard work, a lot of people trying to help people. This is wraparound care for the people that we have forgotten about. Does that make sense?
And we've been doing it since January, and you guys haven't noticed. You didn't notice till we were asked to present on it, so we're presenting on it. And then after we were asked to present on it, some people from the Housing Coalition took issue with it. I can't help that. Sorry, I can't control that. But we are not picking on homeless people. We are just trying to address the most frequent criminals in our community and provide them with treatment services so they can get better.
And I think that would have been fine if you had not included the last slide, where you said you shouldn't give them a parking lot.
Oh, yeah, sorry, that wasn't the
I
last.
don't know why you included that.
Based on everything we've seen, I think that's a bad idea right now.
And that was Sarah's recommendation. She said we shouldn't go forward with it either right now.
Supervisor Gustafson.
Yeah, I did hear that somebody else who spoke before had said shouldn't do it.
Supervisor Gustafson.
That's what they said.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to echo Vice Chairman's
Supervisor Gustafson speaking.
Vice Chairman Fari's comments about a more broad coalition here, especially in our county, to look at the homeless population and how we're supporting them. I do want to note, though, that a few of the supervisors that did sound off tonight do represent the city of Neenah that did pass a ordinance last year that has pushed that problem to especially city of Oshkosh or northward into other counties. So I think we should look inward first and fix our own homes, so especially the municipalities that we live in. But also at the same time, there's a more holistic approach But at the end of the day, 11% of the crime,
Yes, sir.
11%.
For these 112 individuals.
That seems like a pretty significant number for us to want to address, especially from our perspective as a county as well. So thank you very much for being here and presenting.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kristen, and your staff there. And we appreciate it, and be ready for some calls, because I think you might be getting some.
I suspect so. Thank you, sir.
That's good. When
I
it's
appreciate
that,
it.
when it gets active like that, you know they're interested.
Yeah, yeah. Good. It's good to talk about. So thank you very much. Appreciate
Thank
it.
Okay, next is the consent agenda. I know I had some come up to me ahead of time, but they're going to have to say what they want. Otherwise, I'm going to ask for the approval of the consent agenda. Vice Chairman Fari.
Request removal of Resolution 0159. That's identified as number 4, L4. I request removal of L9, Resolution 164, and a request removal of L10, Resolution 165.
Okay, I just want to remind anybody, just because they're on consent means you can still talk about it. They don't have to, whatever, because you pull them, you can pull them, I'm not saying you can't, but you can still talk about them, and you can still go through the consent. So.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Supervisor Nelson.
I would request to pull resolution number 5 from the consent agenda.
Okay. Supervisor Wise.
Chairman, I would respectfully ask that numbers 3, 7, and 8 also be removed.
3, 7, and 8. Is that it? All right, I ask for the approval of the consent agenda with the exception of number 3, number 4, number 5, number 7, number 8, number 9, and number 10. Did I hear a motion? Motion, is there a second? Motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Carried. Okay, we'll go to number 3, resolution number 05807 2025, $350,000 Wisconsin Department of Justice Bureau of Justice Program for COSUSUP, Wisconsin Deflect Initiative Grant. Who wanted that one pulled? Did you? Supervisor Wise?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Resolution 0158072025. Make a motion to put this forward.
Motion made and seconded. You made a motion to move it forward? Is that what you said? What was your motion?
Yes, to bring this forward.
Okay, motion
First.
made and seconded.
Yes.
Okay, if you want to speak on it now, or,
Yes, please.
okay?
Okay. The resolution is $350,000 to the Wisconsin Department of Justice Bureau of Justice Programs for.
Just hold on, just hold
Toss-up.
it for a minute. What? Oh, you got to get into your mic. They can't hear you. You're not
Okay.
talking into your mic.
Thank you. Resolution is for $350,000 Wisconsin Department of Justice Bureau of Justice Programs for COSUP Wisconsin Deflection Initiative Grant. This did pass both Personnel and Finance Committee 5-0 and Judiciary Committee 5-0.
Any discussion? We have a motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Any discussion? Not hearing any. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Carried. Number 4, Resolution 0-15907, 2025, authorized application acceptance for the Safe Streets and Roads for All SS 4A, planning grant for $280,000 to hire a consultant or East Central Wisconsin Regional Planning Commission to create the plan and use in-kind match to meet $70,000 match requirement. Did you bring that one? Who brought number 4 forward? Supervisor Cox.
I pulled it, would request the chairman of P&F bring it in, please.
Supervisor Cox.
If I bring it in, I'll move to deny.
It's not coming in. Oh, did you move it? Yes, you're moving it, that's what's happening. That's because it moved. If that mic back there, you moved it and it... Can you stand up, Morris, and holler loud? I know you can.
Are you not, yeah, are you not?
Or come right up.
Okay, I move that Resolution 015907, 2025 be approved.
Seconded by Nussbaum. Motion made and seconded for the approval of Resolution 015907, 2025. Any discussion? Vice Chairman Fari.
Thank you. When I first read this, I couldn't quite understand why we were getting into this. This Safe Streets and Roads program, as I recall many years, was something that was done by East Central Regional Planning. Obviously, I don't know if they want to review all this and go back through it. 280 grand's a lot of money, but more importantly, it requires 70,000 of an in-kind match, and I'm told by this county. So that becomes more concerning. Who would be addressing the in-kind match, and how would that be done? 70 grand is a lot of hours of work, I should think. I believe Jenny wishes to speak.
Can you answer it by chance, please? We usually don't let that. Or will you?
Yeah, just really quick, this is, I'll just give a little bit of history and then say, this is a grant that we found, we started, we talked about, it's a Safe Streets Action Plan. The $350,000 would be to develop a plan, comprehensive plan, and then we would use that plan to go from there to develop a master plan. The $280,000 is the grant piece, the $70,000 is the in-kind, and it is for like staff time and all those, and we feel 100% certain we're not going to spend the money. It's going to be an in-kind match. So our staff time, things like you can use like finance department oversight, you can use like the procurement and contracting that, you can use, like our utilities. There's a lot of different things that you can throw into in-kind match, and I don't mean throw in like insignificantly, but there's a lot of different things that we can add to it to create that 70,000. So it is staff time and everything that surrounds that staff time, if that makes sense to you.
Might I follow up? Did East Central Regional Planning request this study?
Actually, no, and we've had some of those meetings, but we had some conversation with them about them writing this grant and performing this, but at this point in time, they are not going to be doing that, and we would consult for that service.
Okay, to me, that's very important, because I believe East Central should be doing it. So thank you for your response.
Sure thing.
Yes. Finance Director. Finance Director, Paul?
Through researching this grant, we discussed with East Regional, and we did find out that East Regional did do this for the city of Oshkosh. They did not have it in their time frame to do it for Winnebago County. So we have to do it outside of that, but we do want to use the $280,000 for our county, and the $70,000 in kind is no different than the general services that we use for the ARPA. So the money we're already spending on labor and so forth that we can use for the in-kind adjustment.
Any other discussion? Not hearing any. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay.
Nay.
One nay. Number 5, Resolution 16007-2025, commendation celebrating the 50th anniversary of the Solid Waste Management Board. Supervisor Nelson. Supervisor Nelson on? His light's not on.
There we go. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I had this pulled just because I think it's very significant. It was exactly 50 years ago on this date that the Winnebago County Planning and Zoning Department passed the resolution to establish the Solid Waste Board. And prior to 50 years ago, I got to go off script here a little bit. In Winnie County, 65 years ago, I was sitting at the town dump with a .22 shooting rats at night, and we were dumping all the garbage in the marsh, and whenever the wind blew from the east, one of the public workers would take and start a fire on the dump so that it would go away, and we just kept filling in marsh. So imagine how we have progressed since then. And Kathy Hunter is our director. I don't know how many people have had the opportunity to meet her yet. She's doing an awful, wonderful job for us at the Solid Waste Board. I tried to convince her she had to skip her vacation to Iceland this week and come and read this letter herself, and she told me that that wasn't going to happen. So with that, I'd just like to read some of Kathy's words here. The county purchased its first landfill in the town of Oshkosh in 1976, now known as the Snell Road Landfill. The county board authorized landfill staffing through the highway department, which had the heavy equipment, and administration was handled by planning and zoning department, with all activities coordinated by the Solid Waste Board. The solid waste management system operated in this manner until 2000, when the county board authorized transfer of equipment and employees to create the solid waste department and operational foundation that we recognize today. I've been a member of the Solid Waste Board. She wrote it for me, so been on since 2011, was kind of brought on by Harvey Ringsdorf, who was a significant member of this county board for many years. Many of our previous solid waste management board members are no longer with us. Pat O'Brien certainly comes to mind, Ken Roble, that we named the park after. And I'd like to recognize their persistence in tackling challenging issues and bringing progressive ideas to the table. Past members' thoughtful discussion have been critical to the success in developing municipal and county partnerships to support our waste and recycling infrastructure. Might add with that, we are in the BOW agreement with Brown, Outagamie, and Winnebago County. That agreement has held up and worked. Those three directors, whenever there's a little something to tweak, they sit down, they talk about it, and tweak the agreement so that it works well for all three partnerships. I don't know how many municipalities have such a good working relationship. Their time and expertise and diverse expertise have aided in the development of these long-standing programs. We're currently situated until 2045 with the land and airspace that we have. So our plans are going out 20 to 30 years ahead. And during this 50 years, the county board's willingness to oversee the solid waste system has allowed Winnebago County to provide competitive pricing and dependable service for our residents and businesses alike. While we celebrate the past 50 years, the current Solid Waste Board looks to the future and seeks opportunities to continue success in serving our residents, businesses, and municipalities of Winnebago County. With this resolution, I would ask you to consider our achievements included in the agenda item report. Would also ask everybody to come and celebrate at the Solid Waste Department on Tuesday, July 24th. I'm sorry, Thursday, July 24th. We're just going to have a little bit of cake and ice cream, and we're probably going to just stand around and talk trash. It might be the only time we get to do that. So if you haven't already responded to the Solid Waste Board, please give them an RSVP so we know how many gallons of ice cream to have there. So without further ado, I would make a motion to adopt resolution 0160072025, commendation celebrating the 50th anniversary of the Solid Waste Management Board.
Second. Got that? Motion's made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Oops, I'm sorry. Supervisor Powers.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The county clerk has promised that whenever someone is retiring, she would always read that particular courtesy resolution out loud so that we honor those people. I would suggest that in the future, that we not pull courtesy resolutions, and that's what this is, it's a courtesy resolution. We could have had all this information in our packets and not spend the time reading all this stuff, and I'm just for the next time, when you think about pulling a courtesy resolution, think twice or three times about it. Thank you.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay. Carried. Number 7, resolution number 016207-2025, authorize Winnebago County Emergency Management to enter into the easement with the city of Oshkosh for exiting outdoor warning siren at 929 Winnebago Ave, Oshkosh. Supervisor Wise.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to bring this forward, 0162072025.
Second.
Motion made and seconded.
This is not a really big deal, but the siren that we're talking about here at 929 Winnebago Avenue, Oshkosh, the property is probably going to be sold, and we just want to make sure that that siren remains intact there. That's all this is going to be doing. So to do that, we're going to ask to enter an easement with the city of Oshkosh for this outdoor warning siren to remain. It was voted on by the Judiciary and Public Safety. Vote was 5-0.
Not seeing any call-ins. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay. Carried. Number 8, resolution 016307-2025, requests the county executive to include $120,000 in the 2026 county budget for National Opioid Abatement Settlement Fund to continue the Sheriff's Office program, contacting with Solutions Recovery, Inc. Supervisor Wise.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Again, 0163-072025. I would like to bring that forward, please.
Motion was seconded. Hanson.
Okay, this is a request to include $120,000 in the 2026 county budget for this settlement fund to continue the Sheriff's Office program, contracting with Solutions Recovery. The thing I thought on the back page we talked about, this is a resolution The resolution is a request to the county executive in the hope that it will be included in the final budget is presented in October. Any concrete action involving the budget must be done in October at the annual budget session. Thus, this is not an official budget amendment by the board, as the budget session is not yet convened, and the county executive has not yet distributed the finalized budget. However, this did pass again to 5-0 from the public JPS department or committee. I'm sorry.
Supervisor Hancock Cook.
I can't say that I want to talk because my
Oh.
computer's acting naughty.
Do you want to talk or not?
Love to talk. One of the things that, thank you very much for allowing me to speak, even though I can't push the right button right now. One of the things that confuses me is that we get repeated requests for funding for the STAR program. They're seeking grants everywhere. It's terrific. It would be wonderful if we could see an ongoing total. I don't understand why the requests, other than maybe the grants become available at different times. This isn't a grant request, and I don't understand why it's happening now as opposed during budget time. It's just a confusing thing for me because I don't understand the full circle of the STAR program at this point in time.
I believe the sheriff is coming now to maybe give you a little bit of talk. You can come up
Yeah.
here or stay back there, whichever you would like.
We have a relationship with Solutions, and in order to ensure that that relationship continues, we have to know that the money is going to be there. Obviously, they run a business, so to speak, not a nonprofit, but certainly they're not profiting. And in order to make sure that we're able to maintain that relationship, maintain the program, that's why we're asking for the money now. Otherwise, I don't know that we would be able to continue, well, I know we wouldn't be able to continue the program as is.
But you're not actually asking for the money, you're just asking for us to say, maybe we'll think about it and maybe we'll give it to you when the budget comes?
Well, again, it will be in our budget as part of that. This is just knowing that the money is going to be there so we can continue to plan and work forward into 2026. And as far as any other monies that we've asked for, it's been grants. That's it.
Yep, and.
Yeah, and those come up, we don't
You don't
know.
know when they're gonna come up.
Yeah, we have no idea. It can occur in a week's time frame. We go from, we're not sure, to, hey, apply now, you only have 7 days.
Okay.
And it took 60 hours to do that grant that you just approved.
Thank you.
Supervisor Holt.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have a similar question, and I guess mine is more based on the conversation we had a couple months ago, maybe May, where we were talking about the 5 resources to staff one of the programs. Sorry, I can't remember off the top of my head. We, I think, requested that it come through as part of budget. And so it was a deferred or maybe a decline, but I'll look at Supervisor Bureau for confirmation that he remembers it similarly, because I think the final recommendation came from him.
Supervisor Burrow. Thank you. Your mic's on if you want to say anything.
Pardon? Oh, yes, that's correct, as stated. Pardon me? Oh, boy. I'll have to look.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll have to advise.
Supervisor Hanson.
Most of what I was going to say, the sheriff already mentioned about the funding and the grants. It just as an FYI, the $120,000 is money that we already have inside the opiate settlement fund. So it's not costing taxpayers anything. This is money that was awarded to the county through the opiate settlement funds. It's just really a formality to transfer the money from opiate settlement funds so that we can continue with Solutions Recovery.
If I could, this program is evaluated every 3 months.
There is not a program, I challenge any other program in the county that is evaluated every 3 months. We know what works, we continue to tweak the program. We have raw statistical data that we have given presentations on. We'll be updating judiciary with not only that data, but also with the cost associated. We did not create any new positions. This is all by divvying up more work for the people that work at the sheriff's office in the jail division. So, and I challenge any other program to be evaluated every 3 months.
Supervisor Bender.
I'll vote for it, but I would like to know how many people stay sober for 1 year. I asked last time when we had the presentation, and somebody from the university called me and told me he was going to get me that information, but I never did get it. You know, it's like when you are AAA, they give you a coin when you make a year, you make 5 years. I mean, I see the numbers, but I don't know how many of those people are still successful today. And in the future, it would really help me to know what percentage of the people actually stay sober. You know, is it 50%? Is it 10%? I mean, if it's one, it's better than none. But it's easier for me to judge the money value if I know how many people are actually succeeding.
And the people that have that coin that say they're still sober, you're going on their word, right? You have no idea if they are.
I don't have no idea, but I know.
Right, exactly. And so once they leave, that's part of that $350,000 grant. That person is going to follow them. That person is going to check in with them. We'll have better data, but unless they're on probation, we don't know. But I can tell you that if they're sober, they're probably not going to commit crimes, whether that's drugs or alcohol or a combination of both. And that's really where you get your data on whether or not they're still sober, is whether or not they're committing crimes. So we do have the recidivism data, but I could call them and say, are you still sober? And he could be drinking at that moment. So we have to trust that they're telling us the truth, just like the guy that gets the coin.
Not seeing any other names. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay.
Abstain.
One nay.
Abstain.
Oh, abstain, I'm sorry. Number 9, resolution number 016407-2025, resolution confirming and ratifying the authority of the council of the Winnebago County to add additional defendants to opioid litigation, including the MDL 2804. Did you bring this? Who brought that in?
I pulled it. It was brought in, I'm going to advise judicial. Pardon me? You want me to bring it in?
Did you pull it?
Yeah.
Well, why'd you pull it?
No, I don't support it. I'm not going to support it, so I don't want to bring it in.
Supervisor Wise.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, I think. Okay, this is number 0164-072-025. There's two of them, actually. The next one is also concerned the opioid litigation. This did pass JPS, I believe it was 5-0 on that, yes. And I'm going to ask Mary Ann Mueller, the attorney, Mueller, I'm sorry, to come forward and talk. She talked at great length to me about this. Thank you.
So turning to Resolution 164, as most of you recall, the Board of Supervisors previously authorized Winnebago County to enter into engagement agreements with various law firms to pursue litigation against opioid manufacturers, distributors, and retailers. And that lawsuit has gone forward. Through the course of discovery and investigation, it was determined that there are other meritorious opioid claims existing against additional parties. Now, the original engagement letter with the law firms specifically said that there may be additional parties added based on investigation. And while my office and I believe that that engagement letter with the law firms provides the law firms with adequate authority to add additional parties to be held responsible. Winnebago County understands that recently there are some parties questioning whether the County Board of Supervisors is in agreement to add additional defendants. So, for the avoidance of doubt, Winnebago County is basically seeking to adopt this resolution confirming and ratifying the original law firm's authority to add opioid defendants. And you will see that the additional defendants are listed in Exhibit A, but not limited to those, because again, through discovery, there may be other pockets available. So that's what 164 is about.
Any questions? Don't see any. Supervisor Swan?
Do we have a motion and a second on the floor for this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
Pardon? Oh, I'm sorry, Supervisor Swan, they do not have a second, they said.
Second.
Seconded, I thought we... Now we do. Thank you.
You're welcome.
We got third now. Any other discussions? Any questions? Not hearing any. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay. Aye. One nay. Number 10, resolution number 016507, 2025, resolution delegating the authority to enter into the settlement agreement with opioid defendants to the Winnebago County Executive. Did you pull that one too? Supervisor Wise.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. 0165-072-025. I would like to bring that forward.
Motion made and seconded.
I'm going to ask again, Attorney Miller, talk to us about this.
Okay. So fast forward, probably about 3 weeks ago, I received notice of a proposed settlement with another opioid manufacturer. And I received notice from the National Council that Winnebago County Board of Supervisors hired. And they basically indicated, oh, and if you want to participate and access these funds, you need to get this participation agreement acceptance done by July 24th. So that raised flags like, oh my gosh, are we going to have to call a special meeting, given the fact that this would be going to JPS? But as it turned out, they retracted their July 24th deadline and pushed it to September. However, given the fact that I'm anticipating there may be other settlement agreements presented, like what was presented to me a few weeks ago, and given the fact that National Council has indicated that could be the case, they put together a template, which is basically our resolution with some tweaks, basically saying that it would delegate the authority to enter into settlement agreements, and it would be based to the Winnebago County Executive, with the caveats that the plaintiffs, the PEC, which is the Plaintiffs Executive Committee, which is comprised of lawyers who are dealing with this, and the law firms have recommended the settlement, and number 2, that the Winnebago County shares of the proceeds would basically not be lower than the attachment which you have, which under Winnebago County is 2.176%. So there would be that, and there would also be notice that prior to execution of the settlement by the county executive, the county exec would provide notice to the Winnebago County chair, as well as to Corp Counsel, of the proposed settlement and terms of the settlement related thereto. And then the executive would basically be directed to take any and all such action in order to access that pot, if it was there. So again, this was based on this manufacturer or pharmaceuticals saying, we need to get this participation agreement signed quickly, and given the fact that National Council thinks there's going to be other settlements like this, for efficiency, this is what was proposed. And as Chairman Wise indicated, it was approved by JPS 5-0.
Not seeing any, oh, Supervisor Gustafson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So can you clarify, essentially what this resolution is doing is that if there was funds that were going to be coming to the county board would not be voting to approve to accept those funds from those settlements?
If there's a situation where funds have to be accepted within a very short period of time, and that's what happened with this Sandoz entity, but then again, initially, as I was telling you, but that changed. So again, this is basically giving flexibility to tap into those proceeds in those situations where time is of the essence.
I understand. So essentially, though, back to my question is, a funding mechanism that potentially could come to the board that would probably fall under the scope of the board should probably stay with the board rather than delegating our authority away to another branch of county government.
It's not a funding, it's accepting funds. And, I mean, yeah, you could do that. It would essentially mean, if there were tight timeframes, there would have to be perhaps special meetings of the county board. There would have to be special meetings of JPS. If we were to run into this, or else the county board could say, you know what, it's not worth the hassle, we're not going to tap into these funds. But that's
Sure, and I guess the point I'm going to make now is it is our hassle. This is what we are elected to do, especially if there's something that comes up. I don't believe it's really in our best interest as a county board and what our role and scope is that we are elected to do to hand it off to the county executive. So I will be voting no on this. Thank you.
Finance Director?
Okay, Mary Ann can correct me on this, but when we accepted the national opioid settlement, we went through the lawsuit that a big firm or conglomerate did, and we accepted the funds and did not choose to do litigation on our own. So that's what we are talking about. We are talking about accepting the national litigation for all of these different entities that are now finally coming to settlement, which we've already done. The board has already approved us to do the national settlement. We just got one from Sandoz on 6/26. We got another one from Purdue on 7/3. Today, I just received another one from Alvogen, Amnelia, Apotez. I'm murdering these names, but another 7 different firms that are settling a national settlement. So we're not asking you to not have your authority, but you're authorizing us to continue to settle the national settlement and not do separate litigation. So I just want to be clear, my interpretation of that, and if that's wrong, Mary Ann can correct me.
No. I agree with you at least in regard to some of those entities. I need to look at the other entities. I'm not sure if it's as to all of them.
We got that at 113.
Vice Chairman Fari.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And my line of thinking parallels that of Supervisor Gustafson. I'm always reluctant to waive our responsibility for the position of expedience. I would think at the very least, if I accept the premise that it would, sometimes things come up and we can't get a county board together, then it would at least go for a committee approval. So I also will vote no. I think at the least it should go through a committee. So that's my opinion.
Supervisor Swan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Marianne, is there a terminal date on this opioid settlement agreement that we have where, is there a final end date where this is done and all the settlements have been
No,
taken care of?
actually, with the previous resolution you just passed, through discovery, through investigation, through depositions, they're finding additional defendants, and obviously, since we've all agreed to enter, or you folks had agreed to enter in to the national litigation, it's ongoing. This is just a
Okay.
huge,
So I guess my concern is that if it's ongoing and long-term, for us to give up, authority of accepting new, what would you call them?
opioid manufacturers.
Opioid manufacturers or
retailers,
new parties to this agreement, this lawsuit, right?
Yeah.
We'd be given really the executive an indefinite time frame for acceptance, and I'm a little bit concerned with that, I guess. I have to say. Thank you.
Supervisor Hanson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I now have a temporary hesitation on voting in favor of this. So I have a couple of clarifying questions. Is there any indication, or is it impossible to say what kind of funds, or excuse me, what kind of monies that we are talking about? Can Mr. Kaiser give any indication, or Corporation Counsel? Because if the funds are a little bit more negligible, that would be a different story for me than if it was large sums.
I can tell you that the information, at least that I have, that was provided by National Council did not give specific numbers. Maybe Finance Director Kaiser has them, but it basically said they're anticipating several additional settlements will be proposed. Again, they are recommending approval. They talk about the fact that, again, county board approval can take weeks for committee removal or review and approval. So that's basically what the situation was. So I don't have a number.
I didn't originally read the resolution the same way that Supervisor Fari and Swan and Gustafson had proposed. And boy, I'm now on the fence. And so if anybody else wants to weigh in, please.
Supervisor O'Brien.
No, that was already done.
Supervisor Albert.
Question more curious than anything else. Mary Ann, the Exhibit A listing of counties and cities, it varies quite substantially from Milwaukee being at the high point, as I understand it, of 7.8% to our own Winnebago County at 2.1. How did these percentages emerge?
This was decided years ago by the county board. As we talked about, National Council was looking at this, and they had a formula based on the various counties, based on the opioid numbers, and that's where these numbers came. And this is what the allocation was that was decided. And I would also point out that there's a statute, which is referenced in the resolution, that talks about the proceeds of settlements of all or part of the litigation being distributed, 70% distributed to local governments and 30% to the state. But that's in the resolution. Okay. But in terms of how these numbers came up, it was a formula, it was vetted, and this is what was decided years ago.
And part of the formula, I assume, would include the victims of opiates.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Supervisor Hancock Cook.
Thank you, Chairman. I want to highlight the now therefore be it resolved, lines 88 to 90, where prior to executing any settlement agreement or any document related thereto, the Winnebago County Executive shall provide notice to the Winnebago County Board Chair and Corporation Counsel of the proposed settlement in terms related to hereto. So if there's any, it's not like there isn't any check or balance in this. The County Board Chair gets to weigh in on it. And I really struggle with us worrying about the county executive accepting money versus us accepting money. I don't hear us turning down money. I don't hear, this is a nationally provided resolution because they see it's in our own best interest because of the turnaround time seems to be getting kind of crazy. Again, I don't hear us turning down grant money or money coming in. I don't see a downside to this, and I will be voting in favor of it.
And if I could just point out, as you indicate, yes, there needs to be notice to the county board chair, there needs to be notice to corporation council, but before it even gets to that, there's the plaintiff's executive committee of the national council that has to give its blessing.
That's right.
And the share of proceeds cannot be less than what is referenced in your Exhibit A or Attachment A.
Yeah. Thank you.
Supervisor Laux.
My comments are along the same lines, because the opioid entering into this agreement, I believe, predated a number of county supervisor board.
I think it was 2018.
Yeah,
it was a long
so, isn't this just us receiving funds if we win a lawsuit? I mean,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
so I don't understand why. Can somebody please give me an example of how or why we would turn down the funding when we just won a lawsuit? I mean, why did we
There could be a
enter?
settlement. In other words,
You know,
right, there's a pending lawsuit, and it could go either to trial or could settle. And these funds would either be through the trial or through the settlement.
Would we have control over whether or not there's a settlement? I mean, if we denied the funding,
We, meaning your county board?
the county board,
No, it's national council, because the county board elected to retain national council. Andy Phillips is the intermediary, although initially he was with Von Briesen, which was one of the firms, but then he's off on his own now.
so if we denied the funding, we'd be denying the funding that we got when we said we'd go through this lawsuit. Okay, thank you.
Supervisor Hens.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just want to say one of the things I find just a bit troubling is this is the second meeting where we're asking to cede our powers as the county board to the county executive. I'm not commenting on any intent. I'm not implying any intent. I'm just stating the facts. This is our second meeting where we're being asked to give our duties over to the county executive. The first time was from my facilities committee, and we put a 6-month time frame on it and a 2-year maximum time frame on any agreements that could be on there. We did that. This is an open-ended, here you go, and we have no say after that because we're ceding those powers away. So I have a problem with supporting this just because I don't think it's our job to just keep passing the buck off and not doing our job. Thank you.
Supervisor Power.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Couple of comments. One, sitting on the Human Services Board, that's one that we are one of the groups in the county that lost money during the opioid crisis, increasing the number of children who needed to have foster care, for instance, because their parents were tied up with drug addiction. So I mean, specifically, I know why we need this money, and it would help if we get it as soon as possible. My second comment, and please, if I am quoting him incorrectly, before the spring election, the previous county executive called and asked for my vote, and he said, the thing I'm concerned about is that there will be something that will be beneficial to the county that we would agree to, but that people on the more conservative side would, if a Democrat gets elected to the county executive's position, that people on the more conservative side would vote against it. And at the time, I thought, I'm not sure you're giving these people enough credit, but I also wondered what he might be saying about those of us who are more progressive. But I intend to vote for this, and I'm not worried about handing this over because we've already decided we need to have this money. It is going to come to us. Fiddling around with extra meeting time to take it doesn't make sense. I'm handing this over to the county executive. I'm voting yes. Thank you.
Supervisor Swan, second time.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't think this is a partisan issue. This is just us as a board exercising our fiscal responsibility as handling the purse strings. Whether or not we accept money, I doubt very much whether we would reject opioid settlement money. It's just a matter of timing. From the way I see it, it might take a little longer to get the money. But I'd say it's very unlikely we'd be rejecting money. But again, it's just, you know, this is really an issue where the county board controls monetary issues and the approval of money, the receipt of money, and I think we need to maintain that. We can't cede control of that. Thank you.
Supervisor Hanson, second time.
Thank you. Question for Corporation Counsel. I'm just not quite seeing this the same way, I guess, because as far as fiscal, this isn't changing lines on a budget or asking for money. It's accepting money. So I'm not exactly sure I'm seeing it exactly the same way. Is there a suggestion that the county executive is going to refuse it? And because
No. I can tell you, and I'm actually looking at an email that was sent to me on July 2nd from Krieger Dickinson, and that's one of the national firms. And it said, and mind you, it's not only Winnebago County, it's Wisconsin County clients. Thank you for your patience as we worked through the process of confirming some details and deadlines. As we discussed previously, attached is a template resolution for your review. The template resolution contemplates the county board delegating authority to agree to settlements that are recommended by the plaintiff's executive committee. Again, that's the National Council, thus providing a much more efficient process for processing these settlements. Importantly, you'll note that the deadline for participation in the Sandoz settlement has been confirmed as September 30th. Prior to that, as I said, it was July 24th, and that's what prompted this whole consideration of basically putting in some legislation to avoid basically what we were facing a few weeks ago in terms of meeting this July 24th deadline.
Thank you. I think that I am going to slightly and respectfully disagree with some of my colleagues. Because this is bringing money into the opiate settlement funds, the board is then going to ultimately vote on where that money goes. So I've just not seen it exactly on the same plane, so I am going to vote in favor.
Supervisor Holt.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So I just want to reiterate, my perspective is that the Board of Supervisors agreed to have the National Council represent Winnebago County back in 2018.
I believe it was 2018.
Okay, or 19 or 20 or whatever. And so what we are talking about and debating right now is really whether or not we want to be an intermediary. I'll call it an intermediary. Whether or not we want to be an intermediary in slowing that settlement down by interjecting ourselves. Again, it's not to say that money isn't part of all of our jobs. It's to say we already said we wanted the National Council to negotiate this on our behalf. And by doing that, we've really said we trust and respect your decision in bringing these to us. And therefore, I'm very comfortable with it going to you and the chairman. And if we wanted to put in a committee. But that isn't what the resolution says today, so I'll be voting for it.
Supervisor Gustafson, second time.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think some of the points that were also brought up by some of the other supervisors about kind of the limitless time that this authority is granted to. I'm actually going to ask on JPS to revisit that, so I'm going to make a motion to send this resolution back to JPS committee.
I second the motion.
Motion is made and seconded to go ahead and send this back to JPS. Any discussion? Supervisor Hanson.
Problem with sending it back to JPS, I just want to clarify with Corporation Council that next JPS meeting is August 4th, 5th, something like that. That doesn't jeopardize any timeline, does it?
Not for Sandoz. Sandoz has been pushed to September 30th. But as Director Kaiser stated, there were other materials forwarded today. Paul, can you see what the dates are for those? I can too.
I think because unless it jeopardizes a timeline, I'm inclined to vote in favor of sending it back to JPS because it appears there's a lot of questions.
So, the one that came in at 1:14 talks of deadline to return documentation is October 8th. So that's not one, but there were others.
Do you have the Purdue one?
I'm looking at that next. Let's see. Purdue. I have Purdue, but I'm not seeing, let me just open that up. Why can't I open that up? Are you able to open up the Purdue one, Paul? Here it is. You must participate. Why can't I move that?
Purdue has September 30th.
September what?
September 30th.
That's in the agenda item report.
There it is. That's it. Right. So we've got September 30th, October 8th. And what did I say Sandoz was?
September 30th, I thought.
Yeah. So, in answer to your question, if this were brought to the next, referred back to the JPS meeting, and then there was county board in August, you would be able to meet these deadlines.
With that, I think then because there are so many unanswered questions, I think it should go back to JPS. And those that are concerned, please come to JPS.
Supervisor Ponzer on sending it back.
I thought that Nate had a motion on the floor.
He does. Like I said, this is on sending it, your name's up there, so it's on sending it back.
I was going to call for the questions.
Okay. Question has been called. Is there a second? We have to go back through these here anyways. Supervisor Buck.
I'll second this call question.
There, now the question's been called. Motion's made, second, question's been called.
Which question?
The question that was made for.
Sending it back. Sending it back.
to the committee. All those in favor of calling the question signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay. Nay. I'm gonna say the ayes have it. We'll do
It
by
has to
machine
be
make it right.
it has to be 2/3.
Right, I said we'll do it by machine.
And the question that's being called, sending this back
Back
to
to committee.
Committee.
Committee,
Correct.
correct.
Okay. So sending it back.
You're voting on whether or not to call the question.
Call the question.
Right.
So I want to say yes, we're going to call the question.
Call the question.
Get it up there.
Sure, you can.
So you're voting,
Oh, I see what you're doing. You want to keep talking about this thing.
Yeah,
Supervisor Wise, on your vote. Okay, now it came through. Supervisor Gabbard. I don't know who it is.
he's gone.
Yeah,
Supervisor
yep,
Gabbard's
yep.
gone.
Supervisor Bender.
Yeah, mine wasn't popping up either.
Chairman? Yes.
Supervisor Mako.
Keep voting down.
I keep, her vote came through. Your vote came through. You voted yes. I voted no. I just changed it. Supervisor, this is on calling the question. Supervisor Bender,
Supervisor Bender?
yes or no on call the question? Supervisor Mako? Okay. This is on calling the question. Okay. Yes or no? Right, so yes or no? On call, on, yes. Okay. Right. Ralph? Okay.
And it gets everybody upset. Then it gets everybody upset. And that passes 25-6. So the question has been
Okay,
called.
that's good. I mean, that's the two-thirds.
Right.
I don't
Passed
care
by
whether.
two-thirds, that's what had it.
So now,
Can I also add, I just found out, apparently there are 10 to 15 more settlement agreements in the pipeline, in addition to what we just talked about.
So is that going to affect before this vote now? I think that was one of the questions about sending them back.
Right. I don't,
the call the question was on referring it back to the committee.
What?
We have to take the vote.
I know, but I asked a question of her if that will affect anything. I might not vote in the way I was going to.
But I think the questions have been, at this point, ended because the call question has been.
yeah.
So So you're gonna vote by machine,
The
right?
the question has been called,
Right.
so now we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna vote going back to committee.
Right, so by machine.
And we're gonna do it by machine. So we'll do it by machine. And this will be sending it back to the committee.
And that's a majority.
Any judicial?
Not
Yes
judicial.
or no?
No.
No? No.
No, I thought it was,
Okay.
I thought, yeah, but I thought he said that he wanted to take it back to his other committee, the, Morse's committee, I thought, I don't know.
Tim? Yes, sir.
Because he said he was gonna go with his committee, that's the only committee he's on. He said he was gonna take it back to his committee, and that's the only committee he's on. And that failed, 13-18. So,
Okay?
back on the original resolution.
Yeah, I'm afraid so. And I don't know how to, okay, so,
I know he does. I got all these people
I
that
don't
want to
know.
talk yet.
I lost the speakers that were there, so there, I lost the speakers.
So I got a list of the speakers that wanted to talk yet, so Supervisor Buck.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I will try to be brief here. While I agree with my colleagues on usurping the powers of the legislative branch, I do not agree that, we should send this back to JPS. And I will be supporting this, and why I'm supporting this, because I trust my county board chairman, and I trust the corporation council, as stated by Supervisor Hancock Cook in the, on lines 92 and 93, saying the executive is authorized and directed to take any and all such other and further action necessary. I don't have that right, but anyways, you get my point. So it says it in the resolution, and I will be supporting this. Thank you very much.
Supervisor Ponzer, did you have something?
No.
Supervisor Nussbaum.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If we vote no on this, is there any potential that we'll miss out on any money?
Yeah, well, there would be, other than the ones that I just told you about, because I just learned there's another 10 to 15 in the pipeline. I don't know the timeframes, nor does Atoli's.
But we could miss out on money if we vote no, correct?
Yes. And I would also add, it would involve bringing forward all of these separate resolutions for these settlements to the county board. So in addition to the Purdue one, there's going to be 10 to 15. There is going to be, as we were just talking about, hold on, there's going to be a settlement with Alvogen, which is what Paul was talking about, Amneal, Apotix, Hikma, Invidior, Mylan, Sun, Zidius. So that's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's 8.
Point of information, could those items be included on the consent agenda?
They could be. So they could be on a consent agenda, but again, as Reese is pointing out, each of them would require a separate resolution and a separate agenda item report.
Supervisor Laux.
So, correct me if I'm wrong. The way I look at it is because we approved going into these proceedings, getting the money is more like getting a really big fee for like the boat launch. I mean, we already approved,
Entering into litigation.
Right,
To see
so-
if we could tap into.
I guess my question is, why do we have to approve these at all? Why don't they just go into the bank account? Like a boat fee or something like that?
Because, again, the board should be authorizing settlements or can authorize settlements. We're being transparent. But on the other hand, given the voluminous nature of this is not just Wisconsin. This is across the United States. This is huge litigation. So now they're getting to the point where, you know, it's more than the Sackler family. We're having other entities. So there's going to be a lot of activity. Again, I just heard there's 10 to 15 more in the pipeline, and that does not include the 3 groups that I'm aware of as we sit here tonight.
And then one more question. Supervisor Connolly brought up that we decide where the money goes, but that's not true when we vote to accept it, right?
It has to be channeled to opioid-related uses.
Okay,
You can't
so
say,
we're
I
not-
want to put it to the boat launch or something like that.
Right, we're not voting, we're just voting to accept the funding, we're not voting to,
To designate, right.
so it's essentially more like we already agreed to take this money.
We agreed to enter into litigation to
Right.
try to get some money.
Right.
And now it's coming to fruition. Yeah.
Yeah.
Supervisor Powers.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm not putting this in form of a motion unless somebody thinks this is a good idea. Would people feel better if this was not being agreed to by the county executive alone, but the county executive would meet with P&F, and that group, that board or commission, whatever they are, and the county executive would be the ones who would agree to it? Would anybody feel like that was a better, I'm getting a thumbs up from Chuck! I mean, would that make people feel better if that committee and the county executive were doing it?
So,
Should I make the motion? I move that we have the Personnel and Finance meet with the county executive, and that group, plus the county executive, be the one designated to accept any funds that come in. Seconded, Andy.
I assume you're offering an amendment.
Is that amendment?
What?
Is that amendment?
Yeah, I moved it, yeah.
All right, and seconded? Yes, sir. Okay, we're on the amendment now. For P&F and the county executive.
So you would change line 80 in the resolution to say the Winnebago County Board hereby delegates authority to the Winnebago County Executive and Personnel and Finance Committee, or with the approval of the Personnel and Finance Committee? Or in consultation?
I don't know. I want this to pass, and I want people to be happy with it. And if they're afraid of having Gordon do this by himself, then have him work with.
And not only that, the National Plaintiffs Executive Committee.
I'll make this, put this in place where they revisit it every year.
And also, a newsflash, other counties in Wisconsin have passed this resolution
Okay. Okay, I'll pull it.
without the amendment as it was originally drafted.
Okay, I'm going to pull my resolution because Supervisor Hintz had another idea, and he'll bring his forward. Do you want to take back your second? Oh, Andy, you want to take back your second?
Oh, Chuck, I'll take back my second.
You're on now.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to propose an amendment at the end of this that would say, "Be it further resolved that the delegation of powers to the county executives shall be redelegated annually by the JPS and the county board." So that way we are putting it, every year we will revisit this. It will not be indefinite, and we will not slow down anything that's in the works right now by passing this tonight. And in 1 year, we will discuss this again. And if we need to go forward, we can go forward with it in another year. I think this will be a way to bring everybody together with a lot of the issues that are on this and get this through. Go ahead.
Could you read that language again, just so we have it?
You can clean this up, but
No,
be it further resolved that the delegation of powers to the county executive shall be redelegated annually by JPS and county board, because that's where it was on here. I don't know if you need to add anything else to that or not, but
Shall be redelegated by,
annually by,
okay,
so that way we have to revisit it every year. It's not indefinite.
by JPS and county board.
That's, yes.
You might want to use the word authorized.
Reauthorized, yeah, reauthorized instead of redelegated. That would be better. Thank you, Mr. Fari.
So you have a motion made, amendment made, and seconded. Second. Any discussion on the amendment? Friendly amendment to the amendment? Should we make it a date certain, say the fourth,
Meeting of JPS, the 8th, whatever it is, just so that there's a date certain.
1 year from, it would be the July
Or-
meeting. No, I don't.
You could say the August or the, no.
Supervisor Hens?
I'm not against putting a date on that, but I would believe that annually would cover from the date that it's signed, that we would have to redo it, so I didn't think that we needed to put a date specific in there. Am I correct on that?
Yes.
Thank you.
I mean, if you put July, it just might make it easier to look for in the future, but, you know, it's noted, so.
No one has anything on, oh, there we go. Supervisor Holt,
On the amendment.
Supervisor Bureau, on the amendment.
No, I will withdraw request.
Supervisor Guston on the amendment.
Withdraw.
Supervisor Hanson, were you answered? Okay. All right, we have no one else on there. Do you want to read back that amendment, please?
You want, okay, so it would be the last, be it further resolved, that delegation of powers to the county executive shall be reauthorized annually by Judiciary and Public Safety and the Winnebago County Board.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay.
Nay.
Well, we better do it by machine just to make it fair.
It's going to be the last one. Shall be reauthorized annually by the Winnebago County Judiciary and Public Safety Committee and the Winnebago County Board of Supervisors.
Sorry, my eyes are crossed.
And And the amendment has passed, 25 to 6.
How much were 25? To 6 to 1, okay.
Now we're back on the,
Did you get that?
okay, now we're back on the original with the amendment,
I have it.
as amended.
Am I in? Oh, awesome. Called question. Couldn't find the mic fast enough. I knew there was a reason.
So unless someone speaks, I'm going to go. Supervisor Holt.
Call to question.
Thank you.
I don't want to lose that opportunity again.
You have to get a second vote.
I don't care.
Seconded by Roberson over here.
And now you need a 2/3 vote.
Now it's just another vote.
All those in favor of calling the question signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay.
Nay.
It's been called.
Yeah, good job.
I believe 2 nays. So now we'll go back.
She's got the vote.
Okay, so we'll vote by machine. She's got it all ready to go. It's right up there. Resolution delegating authority to enter into the settlement agreement with opioid approved as amended. So that's what you're going to be voting on. So yes.
Do it for the next 5 years. No, because if we have. I think she's right.
No, that's fine, I just need to know when to start the tickler.
I'd say the end of April, so that if there's issues.
That is passed, 27 to 4. Vice Chairman Fari.
Chairman, I move to adjourn. Second.
Motion made and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor signify by saying aye. We are adjourned.